All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us at our execution portion of today's Pipeline Summit. We have been talking all day about forecasting and planning, and now I'm so excited to get into actually running a direct mail program. And when we're talking about direct mail, no one does it like Sendoso. So I'm super excited to have Katie Penner, Head of Sender Relations here. Katie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Katie, I would love to hear a little bit about what Sendoso does and what does the Head of Sender Relations get up to?
Yeah, so Sendoso is the gifting and direct mail platform that helps revenue teams double their win rate, 6x second call rates, and close deals 29% faster. I am, like Shelly said, the head of sender relations. My job kind of consists of a lot of different things, including all of our organic social kind of presence, as well as managing our outbound programs, including our BDR team and all of our motions through Clay.
Awesome. You are a busy lady. Well, we are huge fans of Sendoso here at Qualified. Before we dive into this framework that you provided for us, we've got some best practices, some great examples that you're sharing. I wanted to get your take on, today we're talking all about how AI is changing our marketing strategies, how it's impacting all of the channels we operate within. So I'd love to hear what you think about kind of the state of direct mail right now. And then as we're looking at 2025, what is AI going to change about how we're running our direct mail programs?
Yeah, I love that question. I think current state at Sendoso, we're combining the personal, tangible experience of a physical touch point with the precision and scalability of AI-driven insights. With AI, marketers can create these super personalized, data-driven campaigns that break through the noise and deliver these results. I think it's the perfect way to bridge the gap between online and offline engagement and create these connections that actually stick and drive impact. As far as future goals, I think our team is looking into ways to, combine data and surface to our customers with AI, what should you send and when, so that it's one-click sending that's very, very easy to do. And so I think that all of these activities will just become more and more streamlined in the future, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah, I love that. I know direct mail can kind of feel a little intimidating, but being able to streamline all these workflows and automate a lot of things really makes it approachable for us. So I'm super excited to dive into this framework. It is somehow December already. We are winding down 2024 and looking at 2025. The theme of today is, what are we doing next year? Where do we start with direct mail? I know you've got this great framework to share with us.
Yeah, so really excited to kind of chat through this. So we've broken this into, a few different categories. So we're going to start with our key quarterly initiatives. What are those high impact things that are mobilizing your entire company? So for Q1, that may look like momentum and connection, right? Starting the year off right. So you can start with something like a sales blitz and using direct mail to engage prospects and accelerate deals, sending things like personalized gifts to set appointments or celebrate new partnerships, relationships. An example of how you can use a gift in a sales blitz is like a handwritten note with cookies saying, how sweet would it be to connect, right? Really easy, delightful thing and a delightful way to bring some prospects in. Now, for something like a community launch, right? Fostering those customer connections, making them, champions of your brand with welcome kits or some interactive mailers, curated swag boxes to excite them and get them re-engaged for the new year. Then Q2, your initiatives could look like a new product launch or a company rebranding, right? So sending things like exclusive invitations to launch webinars or events can be really effective. Things like that. Q3, right? All of these different things, customer engagement, retention, mergers and acquisitions even, gifting can be leveraged to, make customers feel valued and, supported. And then for mergers and acquisitions, right? An example of that is, sending a swag pack to introduce the new brand identity and instill confidence, right? So I think when you're planning like your major quarterly campaigns, taking a look at those high impact initiatives is going to help form your framework for the year.
Yeah, this makes a ton of sense, and I've been fortunate enough to receive some of those cookies. They did make me feel very valued, so I'm very fortunate with that. Um, for these key quarterly initiatives, when you're looking at your full scope of what you're doing in ER, marketers do so much stuff. Like, yeah, in-person events, we have virtual events, we have webinars, we have all these things, some of which you've listed out here. How do you decide what makes the most sense for a direct mail campaign? What would be the most impactful, and what probably needs to live more in the digital channels?
Yeah, so I think when we as a team decide what's direct mail worthy each quarter, we focus on three things, right? Who we're targeting, what we're trying to achieve, and whether the ROI makes sense. So as far as the audience, we're always asking ourselves, like, will this make an impact on this specific group? For high value accounts or campaigns where we want to stand out, direct mail is usually a no-brainer. And as far as goals go, if the goal is to build a stronger connection, re-engage, or celebrate a win, direct mail is often the perfect fit in our eyes. It's all about where we can make the biggest difference there. And then as far as ROI, right, we're tracking metrics like response rates, conversions, pipeline generated. Every campaign obviously needs to make sense financially, but we also look at the bigger picture of the relationships we're building for the long term. Typically, what we strive for is a 4x closed one, right? And that's really easy to tell in the reporting in Sendoso. But generally, we keep it simple. If direct mail can help us create a meaningful touch point that moves the needle, then it's worth doing. And if something isn't working, we tweak it, test it, and learn for next time.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you got your key quarterly initiatives. What's next in this puzzle?
Yeah, so next is going to be our seasonal campaigns. So these are really fun. And these are things that we as a marketing team provide the BDR team. So let's say it's a sequence for the holidays, for example, right? We're leveraging national days, holidays as a fun way to stand out and break through the noise. Now, these campaigns are really, really fun. So for Customer Appreciation Day, for example, we can send out an email to our customer base and say, hey, we really value you. We want to celebrate you as a customer. Let us know if you prefer cookies or champagne to celebrate, right? These are really fun little touch points and really easy to throw together. So we like to do them quite often and find some that we think are relevant throughout the year.
Yeah, I run social here at Qualified too, and so I'm always looking at this big list of holidays like National Book Lovers Day, all these things that are here. They're so fun, and it's interesting to try and figure out what actually will resonate with your audience. I'm curious if you have like a framework around which holidays really make sense for your buyers, and maybe how do you go about targeting those specific buyers?
Yeah, so I think that we consider several things, right? National Customer Day, that's like an obvious one, right? But then there's things like National Harry Potter Day and like National Guacamole Day, which are like incredibly kind of random. So I think my suggestion in general there would be find days that align with your brand, right? So here at Sendoso, we're really into like giving, and we just released a new feature that is, universal giving. And it allows our customers to, or the gift recipients rather, to donate the amount of the gift that they would have received to any cause that they care about. So Giving Tuesday would have been a great opportunity for us to reach out, kind of plug that new feature as we offered someone, the opportunity to donate. So I think in general, it's hard to like nail down specific ones for, every brand out there, but take a look at the different national days and decide what makes sense for your brand ethos and, who you guys are out in the world.
Yeah, I love that. And I saw our VP of Demand Gen, Sarah, she just posted about that universal giving option as well. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So we've got key quarterly initiatives. We have our seasonal campaigns. What's the final piece to this puzzle to make for this framework?
Yeah. So the final piece is going to be your evergreen campaigns, right? What are you keeping on all the time and running all the time to, pull in more meetings, drive webinar and event attendance, accelerate pipeline, all of those things. So these are things that are always going to be on and you're always going to have running.
I think with these, they can kind of feel a little set it and forget it. Like we find what works, we just kind of let it run. Do you have a recommendation for how often to revisit these campaigns? What kind of cadence? Is it when you're doing your annual planning? Is it quarterly? How frequently should you be revisiting these?
Yeah, so I am very data driven. So I am checking on these at least twice a month personally, constantly checking on these campaigns. And Sendoso's ROI reporting makes this really easy to do. I do think you need to keep it simple, right? When you're looking at like, is this working? We're looking at, are the results good? I mean, it's pretty simple. Are we booking meetings? Are people attending our events? Is pipeline being accelerated? Are customers happy? If the answer is no, it's obviously time to tweak something, right? But again, the reporting makes this pretty simple to look at. I'm a data driven person, so I'm checking on it maybe, a little more than I should, but twice a month is how often we are looking into these and making sure that they're still performing.
Awesome. Well, this framework's great. I know we're going to drop it in the chat so everyone has this kind of template to work off of. But it's easy to plan all these things, lay them out all nicely on a slide. How do you make sure that these things actually work?
Yeah. So as far as a great direct mail campaign, right? I think there's 4 main steps. You need to build a quality list, right? We need to make sure that our prospects or our customers, whoever we're sending to, that we have a good, decent list. And then 2, we need to make sure that our offer is enticing, right? And I want to clarify that does not always mean that the offer has to be high value or expensive, right? What we actually see in our data is that the average gift accepted costs around $50, right? So sometimes the messaging and the thought and the intention behind the gift is what really matters here. And then 3, design an appealing package. And 4, finally, track your campaigns. Make sure that they're performing, that you are getting what you need to get out of them as far as ROI, reply rates, all of those things. But also think about the long term, right? The long-term impact of these motions and how people are seeing your brand out in the world and, things like that.
It's interesting what you said about the average gift acceptance price being $50. I think in our world, we tend to get in our heads that it has to be this really incredible, unique gift. So that's super fascinating. I think kind of one of the keys there of success is probably the messaging that we're crafting around this. I think it's what a lot of us struggle with right now is trying to break through the noise in an inbox. How do you get your buyers to actually engage with your messaging? How do you go about making that messaging as impactful as possible?
Yeah, I love this question. So there's a few main points that I want to bring up as far as like the foundations of sales emails go. So you only have 3 seconds for, when a buyer opens your sales email for them to decide if they want to read it or not. And then if they do decide to read it, you only have 11 seconds on average that they are going to spend skimming said email. So, in conclusion there, it's very important to have short, simplified messaging that's really easy to scan and understand with lots of white space and a clear call to action. So you may be wondering, okay, cool, Katie, but like, what does this actually look like in practice? And how do we avoid bribery with gifting? And here's an example of a really great template that I got to write with my friend Jen Allen Knuth, who is incredible. But it is very straight and to the point. We're also avoiding bribery with our gift offer. So what I see a lot of new gifters do is put in their emails, hey, in exchange for your time, I'd like to send you X. That is a bribe. We definitely want to separate our company's value prop and the send offer within the email and not make them exclusive of each other. So what I mean by this is a template like this. So name, noticed company insight, X seems to be your team's focus. Do your reps ever struggle to X? Our company has helped Co & Co close that gap with solution. Worth a chat. P.S. Saw you were into cooking. Wanted to send over my favorite cookbook. Confirm your address here. Right? Totally separated from each other. Nothing's dependent on one another. And just a quick call out, we do leverage a PS quite a bit because a PS is shown to boost reply rates by 33%. and it's a beautiful place to put a gift offer. Another thing I do want to call out, Shelly, is that the subject line for this email, I probably would put, cooking plus one word, word to describe my company. So for us, it would be gifting, right? But we're going to make it super simple. We're going to capture that attention, bring them in, be really concise, and get to the point.
Yeah, I will say I've had a few emails like that's this exact format, and it does work on me. The PS does work. I've had a couple really awesome gifts sent my way that really made sense within the context of what I do. It's really hard when you're in an inbox trying to float above all that noise. So I love this template. I think it's fantastic. So thank you for sharing the framework, some of these best practices. Now I want to get to something exciting. I know you brought a couple examples of campaigns that are really working for people. So I would love if you could share a couple of the campaigns out there that you're seeing are just crushing.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm so excited about this. I nerd out about this. I love seeing what our customers are sending. So it's a new kind of trend that I'm seeing in the gifting world, and it's been around for a while, but more and more people are doing it, is two-part sends. So this is a way to conserve budget because you're sending the part one, which in this case is a piece of collateral with a box of mints that have, a little Game Boy or whatever on top. That is the first part of the gift. It is a teaser gift. Now, what's special about these is that the recipient has to do something to get the higher value gift, which in this case, the part two is a Switch. So they're really fun, and we're seeing really great reply rates from campaigns like this and conversion rates. So it's a lot of fun, and it brings some joy into the world of B2B marketing.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I love a pun, so I'm all about this for like a Switch campaign. I think that's so cute. You have another one for us?
I do. So this is an example of an executive event, right? They're offering tickets to the US Open. So the part one is a branded gift that hints, which in this case was a tennis ball, of course, that hints to the event, and a note featuring a QR code to register for said event. And then the part two of this was once they did register, they received the tickets to the US Open where, the executives got together with the C-suite level buyers and were able to engage with them, in person, which is so valuable. But I thought this was a really cool way to, stand out because, Shelly, how many emails have you accidentally missed for events, right? And this is the way to really break through that. So
I love here too. I just want to point out that if they aren't able to attend this event, like maybe they're already scheduled somewhere, or maybe it's not their thing, you also have an option where they can redeem like a StubHub gift card, or they still get the value of the gift, and maybe they can put that towards something that makes more sense with their schedule. So from a sending perspective, you can't really go wrong with that. I love it. Let's talk about our last one.
Yeah, always good to have an alternative, especially when you're talking about those high value buyers, those C-suite buyers. Always good to give flexibility for sure. Now this is an example of an expansion send. So I love video mailers. They aren't done too often. So when I saw this example, I was really, really excited. The part one was a video mailer with a company demo playing. And then they had a custom luggage tag with a QR code to join a webinar. And then once they attended that webinar, and notice how it's not a demo. I also thought that was brilliant, right? It's like, hey, we're confident enough that we can, convert you after this webinar, that's all we want you to do, which is a much lower bar than committing 30 minutes to a one-on-one demo. And part two, after that webinar, they received an Airbnb gift card for attending the webinar where they could now use that luggage tag, right? So really, really fun, kind of cohesive two-part sends.
Well, Katie, thank you for sharing all of this. This has been fantastic. We're going to link a bunch of these resources down in the chat and in the resources tab down there. Thanks again for sharing all this with us, and I can't wait to see what people are sending next year.